this was one of my congratulations. Oh yeah, I was thinking that it was this. Let's see. This is from Lola Young.
fine. You want to do it off of it? Let's do it off of it. What? You're welcome. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we finally made it almost to the end. Anyway, we're going to be going over the Senate proposals this morning. But before we get started, our Sergeant at Arms are Michael Lacey and Thomas Rios. William Dean is our legislative floor clerk, and he's been assisting me and helping in providing guidance. I'd like to have Senior Assembly Member Ada Battle come up. She's going to be leading and providing our invocation.
Good morning. To the most highest Creator, we come before you today seeking the best laws for the older adults. Please bless all the soldiers fighting in the various wars. Protect them. Keep them safe. In His holy name, amen.
As you will note, if you look at your referring to the your program, we have a rather short time this morning, so we're going to be moving along quite rapidly in going through the Senate proposals. Mr. Dean will provide instruction as to the timing and the number of points of discussion, and I'm going to turn it over to him at this moment. You want to call this guy?
We're taking it. I'd like to welcome up Senior Assembly Member James Janus to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm going to go ahead and take the roll now. Agor? Here. Battle? Here. Beagley? Here. Block? Here. Brooks? Norma Campbell? Here. Quincy Campbell? Here. Christian? Dahlgren, Day, Duff, Fingold, Flores, Friedman, Galfond, Gerbrock, Ginsburg, Givens, Glassmeyer, Godiger, Gonzalez, Gould, Greenwood, Hartsgen, Holmes, Hurst, Hutcherson, Janis, Jones, Kagan, Kerwin, Crone, Lacey, Lamagno, Lehman, Lepelbet, Lowe, Lopes, Lucero, McAllister, Meade, Mitchell, Molnar, Monhay, Mooney, Morris, Park, Payne, Petty, Placencia, Polk, Purcell, Riley, Rios, Rolfe, Rosenberg, Ryan, Schwartz, Sarin, Shantz, Siegrist, Sonnefeld, Sorensen, Soma, Stout, Taylor, Tom, George Tucker, Martin Tucker, Warren, Weintraub, Weisgerber, White, Wyatt, Wilson, Wolf. I'm going to go back and just call the absent members really quick. Some people that were here yesterday are not present today, it looks like. Brooks, Christian, Day, Flores, Friedman, Galfond, Ginsburg, Gonzalez, Holmes, Park, Polk, Purcell, Riley. Did someone say Riley? Okay. Rosenberg, Sarin, Siegrist, Taylor, Wyatt. Oh, because when he stepped in, he told me that you were here. Okay. Hartsgen. Say that again. Use your microphone.
Hartschen.
Correct. And what's the pronunciation? Is it Hartschen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I called your name. You're present. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll start with, again, just to reiterate from yesterday and to emphasize that again. Yeah, so two basic announcements this morning. One is that, again, due to time, we'd like to make sure that we try to limit comments to 2 in support and 2 opposition. It's even probably more important today than yesterday because our session only goes till 10:30. Secondly, it looks like you're not in alphabetical order like you were yesterday, and so if you could, sometimes I can't see your name tags, and if I don't recognize your face for whatever reason, I apologize, but I might need you to either raise it as you stand to state your support or opposition, just so I know who I'm calling on. And I'll try to be as good as possible about seeing who raised their hand first, because we will try to limit it to 2 in support and 2 in opposition. And as yesterday, this is being televised.
Can I just a point of...
You want to use... Again, just remind people to, when they want to make a comment, if they could raise their microphone and then use it after I've called on you. Senior Assembly Member Block.
In the proposals we got this morning, there's supposed to be a change on SFP 8, page 245, and I did not get that. And neither did my colleagues around me.
I didn't either.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, it seems I
Senior
don't.
Assembly Member Givens.
It seems I don't have any paperwork.
We will make a call because the paperwork came around when before a roll was done, and they passed them out to all the members who were present at that time, which was at after 8 o'clock. So please,
Thank you.
Please be patient. Thank you. Thank you, Senior Assembly Member Block, for bringing that to our attention. The Speaker will make a call, and we will not act on those items until everyone has the information that they need to act on the items. Senior Assembly Member Monhay, you raised your microphone? Or, no. Could you hold up your, I'm sorry, I don't recognize your name. Senior Assembly Member Lucero, you have a comment?
Senior Assemblyman Lucero. I'm not sure if this is the correct time, but a point of personal privilege.
What was the question?
Is this the correct time to bring up a point of personal privilege?
Proceed.
Last evening at dinner, I learned that we applied the rules and one of our bills died. We had a member who was informed at the dinner table that his bill had died. But the problem was not that the rules were being not followed, but the problem was that there was so much confusion within the assignment of the rooms, and he was not called. He was, in fact, in the Health Committee, and he was not called to testify in the Senate Committee. He got a consent in the Assembly Committee for AP 19, and because he was not able to testify in the Senate Committee, his bill died. And he didn't know about that until dinner time. The problem being that he was not located and he was available. He's brand new. He's only been here 6 months, has had nanoseconds of orientation. Therefore, he really didn't know what to do. And since it was late in the evening, we were at dinner time, there wasn't much else we could do. The chairperson said that they discussed it but didn't know what it was about, and consequently, they voted it down. And my point being that everything was wrong, the rules were applied, but everything else was wrong. And I was thinking that since I can't make a motion because I got the microphone on personal privilege, I thought perhaps that maybe the Senate meeting could hold or review this AP 19, because in fact it probably would have got another consent, and as it is now, it went down. So I basically wanted to bring it to your attention and let the body do what it will. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Lucero. We've made a note of that, and we'll review it. We'll send it for review.
Mr. Speaker,
Senior Assemblymember Lopes, why do you rise?
Mr. Lucero explained briefly what the problem was. A few of us are aware of the problem. We're not blaming anybody. A slight mistake was made. But I think an opportunity should be taken to remedy this mistake. So I move that we amend the rules for today and allow the assembly person who was not allowed to present his proposal to present it either here or in the Senate. I moved. My motion is to amend the rules. whether or not you agree with that is, of course, up to you.
I've been instructed by the Speaker that we will send it for review.
Thank you.
And get back to the body in this chambers. The Speaker is trying to reach people to get the amendments for Senior Senate Member Block's comment on SFP 8. We'd like to proceed with the do pass file moving forward now. The first proposal that we can hear testimony on and vote on is Senate Proposal 6 by Senior Senator Mack relating to taxation. Is Senior Senator Mack?
I am Senior Assembly Member Denny Weisgerber, representing Senator Mack this morning on this bill.
Thank you.
May I proceed?
Please.
This is a bill on taxation of the sale of a home in the state of California. The Constitution says that now only the law now says that only 7 counties in this state allow a senior citizen to sell a home, let's say valued at $500,000, to a lesser valued home because they don't need the size of residence that they're in, that they will be taxed as a capital gains or a state income tax. If a taxpayer was allowed to exclude income up to $250,000 individual or $500 on the joint return from the gain of a sale of a qualified principal residence, and seniors are subject to income taxes on the sale of their home, even if they move to assisted living units where there may be heavy upfront fees and so forth, they are taxed on that gain. This bill proposes to memorialize the legislature and the governor to sign into law that a person could move, a senior 65 years of age or older who sells their principal residence, they can move to a lesser valued home or assisted living without being taxed on that gain. This, in essence, would say, all right, I bought a home for $50,000 50 years ago, and today it's worth $500,000 or $1 million. I would be taxed on that gain if I sold it. This bill proposes that I would not be taxed on that gain, and that would put a Proposition 13 home worth $1 million on the market that the state could recoup the taxes from the new buyer. I think that this is a highly due and recommended piece of legislation. I ask for your affirmative vote on this.
Thank you, Senior Assemblymember Weisgerber. Is there any further debate or discussion? Please raise your name tag so I can see it, sir. Could I please see your name tag, please? Senior Assemblymember Sonnenfeld, thank you.
Terry Sonnenfeld from PSA 11. I believe it states in here that currently if you had a home that I bought mine for $25,000 or $23,000 some 40 years ago, and if I were to sell it for $400,000 today, all of the gain would be excluded, because you can exclude it both state and federal, $250,000 of the gain per person, allowing for a couple that's $500,000. If you were fortunate enough to have a home that you get to sell for $1 million, I think you've got enough money to pay the taxes. So I've done a lot of these tax returns in the last 4 or 5 years, and most of them you're just excluding all the gain, as long as it's not more than $500,000 for a couple. So I'm wondering, how far do we want to go? If I sell my house and I get $5 million, do I not pay taxes again? If you're fortunate enough to be in the millionaire category, which I'm not, I would think that you're happy to pay the taxes for being a millionaire.
Thank you, Senior Assemblymember Sonnenfeld. Any further debate or discussion? Senior Assemblymember Warren.
I am in favor of the bill. It was my understanding that the current savings that one would make on capital gains taxes is temporary. It's not a permanent fixture. And so I would be in favor of this, because any proceeds that one might get, one may need for health and long-term care payments before you actually pass away. So I would be in favor of keeping the proceeds and passing this bill.
We'll go ahead and take a roll on this. I'm going to do it a little bit different from yesterday just to save time. And so today, if you would raise your hand if you're going to vote no on this proposal, it would be less time for me to count. So those who are going to vote no on Senate Proposal 6, please raise your hand. This is a no vote on Senate Proposal 6. Those who are going to abstain their vote on Senate Proposal 6, please raise your hand. Therefore, we would have a majority vote here today, and Senate Proposal 6 passes. Senate Proposal 7 by Senior Senator London regarding senior financial abuse. Will there be a senior assembly member to present this bill? Senior Assembly Member
Lucero.
Lucero, thank you.
This bill is really pretty simple. It basically asks, to protect the seniors from their financial abuse. Every time you turn around, somebody is trying to sell seniors one thing or another. Annuities for 30 years when you're 80 years old seems a little ridiculous. I have a friend who's a retired FBI man, and he's about 65. He says he doesn't even buy green bananas. And so my point being is anybody who tries to take advantage of seniors, should be dealt with, and that's basically what this bill does.
Thank you, Senior Assembly Member Lucero. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a roll. Again, with a no vote on Senate Proposal 7, please raise your hand. Any of those who will abstain from voting on Senate Proposal 7, please raise your hand. Therefore, there's a majority of yes on Senate Proposal 7. It passes. Senate Proposal 12 by Senior Senator Kim Selby regarding Senior Volunteer Month.
We're not finding these on our due pass. Where are these?
Again, I just want to remind people if they want to speak, if they could raise their microphone, rise, wait to be called on, and then speak. Thank you. Senior Assembly Member Block.
I don't see these on our due pass list.
What was that again? Could you please repeat that?
I don't see the ones that we are mentioned on our due pass list.
You don't see Senate Proposal 12 on your due pass list?
No. What I've got is SP7, SP16, SFP1, SFP3, and SFP6.
Dorothy Sorensen, it is on the front page.
It's on the front page.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, thank you. Stupid.
We'll return to the proposal. Senate Proposal 12. Is there a Senior Assembly Member to present? Senior Assembly Member Jones.
Thank you, sir. As a former teacher, I'm a proponent to deal with a lesson plan. I will give you a very brief summary of this proposal. Senior volunteers in many areas deal with congregate meals, home-delivered meals, elder abuse, privatization and high cap, health, which is health insurance, counseling, and advocacy programs. legal assistance for seniors, Alzheimer's daycare centers, schools, churches, hospitals, and many nonprofit organizations. In 1999, a survey showed about 5.5 billion hours of years were volunteered. Its value is about $41.2 billion. 45% of the senior volunteers are in the neighborhoods. 54% of the senior volunteers are employed either part or full-time. 45% are retired seniors or volunteers 4 or more hours weekly. 81% are over 75 years old and volunteered when asked. In the year 2005, White House Conference on Aging resolved to develop a national strategy to promote volunteerism. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Jones. Any further debate or discussion? Senior Senate Member Dahlgren.
Yes, Senior Assembly Member Dahlgren, PSA 31. And I think this bill was, our proposal was amended in the Senate to try and make the volunteer month proposal in perpetuity instead of being a one-year item. Is that correct? And when I went to the Senate committee proposing Senior Center Month, the same question came up, and I informed the committee that the legislative analysts stated to me that this type of a bill can only be a one-year bill because the Assembly or the Senate can't obligate their future members due to term limits to be obligated for this bill. And so the analysts left our committee and came back and said that I was correct. And what I'm worried about with this bill, with the amendment, is that the Assembly or the Senate goes forward and they look at it and say, well, we can't do it in perpetuity, so they don't do it. That's my only concern.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Dahlgren. Senior Senate Member Taylor.
This came to our committee for amendment, and the amendment was we were changing the month from May to April.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Taylor. Senior Senate Member Jones, would you like to close?
No, thank you.
So then we'll go ahead and take a roll call on Senate Proposal 12. Again, I'll do it by no votes. Those who are going to vote no on Senate Proposal 12, please raise your hand. Those voting no on Senate Proposal 12, please raise your hand. Those who wish to abstain on Senate Proposal 12, please raise your hand. The ayes have it. The proposal passes. Senate Proposal 20 by Senior Senator Eaton regarding property tax. Senior Senate Member Glassmeyer, thank you.
Senior Assembly Member June Glassmeyer presenting this for Connie Eaton, who is in the Senate. And this bill is on property tax. It is an old bill which has been introduced for at least 8 years and was always in the top 10 when the proposals were prioritized. It was initially introduced by Senior Senator Richard Griswold, who, because of health conditions, is no longer a member. And in essence, what it says is to increase the homeowner's exemption from $7,000 to $27,000 because it has not been changed since 1967, and the value of the homes have increased over the years, and I am asking for approval for this proposal to remain in view.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Glassmeyer. Further debate or discussion? Senior Assemblymember Monje.
Luis Monge, Senior Assembly Member, PSA 23. I'm totally in agreement with supporting this proposal in that 37 years have gone by, and in 37 years, property values have not just increased, but they have gone tenfold. I bought my first property for $22,000. In the same region that I'm at, properties are in the $200,000 or more. So that means it's a tenfold increase in property value. My wages are staying, basically, in concurrence with that. But what I'm saying is that the reason that I'm supporting this thing is that proposal is that with the property values increasing so much and Prop 13 only allowing the government to do so much increase during a certain period of time, I believe it's every 5 years that they can reassess your property, but only 1%. So what they're doing is they have these bond issues, water issues, sewers issues, and all these other things, and they're still increasing your taxes with no end. So increasing an exception to today's property values, I think is appropriate, and I'm totally in support of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Assemblymember Monje. Senior Assemblymember Greenwood, you're next.
Thank you. I totally support this bill. Ohio has had this bill for some time, and that state is a much poorer state than ours is. So I totally support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Assemblymember Greenwood. Senior Assemblymember Lowe. Is your microphone raised, Senior Assemblymember Lowe?
Lowe, not Lowell. Sorry.
No, I said Lowe. Is that how you pronounce your last name, Lowe?
Yeah, short and sweet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm in support of this proposal as well, but I have a question. Line 43, as amended, is said to be adjusted based on an appropriate cost of living index. So I just wonder, did anyone do any calculation from 7,000 from 1968 all the way to today based on the COLA? Did that come out 27,000? Or how does 27,000 come into place? Thank you.
Senior Assemblymember Glassmeyer.
I believe you're asking why did the figure rise from 7,000 to 27,000? Am I correct?
No, I'm asking whether you did any calculation from 1968 $7,000 to today's 27,000, because you said based on COLA, cost of living adjustment.
No, we have not.
Well, my friendly suggestion or amendment, I don't know, should be, because the line 43 specifically said should be based on the cost of living index, COLA. So that's why I said should be calculated.
Thank you, Senior Assemblymember Lowe.
I know that we have some CPAs in attendance, and I know this is digressing, but I would like to ask a question of Assemblymember Schwartz, if he could just briefly comment on if there would be a big difference between the CPI and a COLA in this matter.
There is a difference, minute as it may be, but taking the cost of living index at when this particular law was enacted, and using the 2%, the increase by that time, it would be approximately double what it was in '68. It may be maybe a 10%, instead of 100% double, maybe about 110% doubled. So that will make it about 14 or 15,000 rather than the 27,000. But I have other reasons to vote against it, but I didn't do it in committee. I lost. I'm not going to go any further into it.
But anyway, you see my point.
Senior Assemblymember Duff.
It appears to me that what this says is that it's 27,000 to be adjusted by the COLA, not that it was figured by the COLA to begin with. I think in the future it would be then adjusted by the COLA.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Duff. We'll go ahead and take a roll vote on this bill, this proposal. Senate Proposal 20, again, in keeping with the past few proposals, we're going to raise our hand if you intend to vote no on Senate Proposal 20. Please raise your hand. Those who wish to abstain on Senate Proposal 20. Abstaining. Looks like the ayes have it. Senate Proposal 20 passes. Senate Federal Proposal 1 by... Would you like me to skip over? And
Could
if
you do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Senate Federal Proposal 6 by Senior Senator Faustman regarding financial institutions. Is there an assembly member to present Senate Federal Proposal 6? It's on the due pass file. So we can just vote on it, or someone can present it.
Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Senior Assembly Member Tucker, Martin Tucker.
Our procedure for the 10 years I've been here, the chair of the committee that heard that proposal should be the jockey if there's not an assigned jockey.
Thank you, Senior Assembly Member Tucker. Who is the chair of the Assemblymember Glassmeyer is the chair of Finance and Insurance the committee? Yeah.
Would you please repeat the proposal?
It's Senate Federal Proposal 6 by Faustman regarding financial institutions.
I have to decline because I was out of the room when it was presented, so I would like to ask the co-chair, Fran Givens, to make the presentation.
My apologies. For some reason, I don't have the proper number on that.
I can, Senate Federal Proposal 6. Is that what you're asking?
Well, it says 175, and my 175 doesn't correspond.
Mr. Chairman.
Senate Assemblymember Mitchell, would you like to comment?
SFP 6 is listed as due.
Sorry, I'm on the wrong page.
Well, did you want to finish your statement?
It's SB6.
That's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Here we go.
Oh, this is the proposal which we had no testimony on, and I had to read to our committee, and we did pass it. Is the author here?
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Givens. We're going to actually just do a vote for roll call right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So those who are going to vote no on Senate Federal Proposal 6, please raise your hand. Senior Senate Member Sonnenfeld, why do you rise?
Terry Sonnenfeld, PSA 8. If nobody knows what it's about, why are we voting to support something that we don't understand? I don't relish putting down something in defeat, but if we can't get an author, a jockey, no committee member knows what it's about, I certainly would like to wonder what we're going to support.
Again, if someone wishes to speak, can you please rise and use your microphone? Senior Senate Member White.
Yes, this was in the committee that I served on, and it's basically a call to reestablish some of the banking controls that we had before we've had so much problems that led to what we have now. The Stengel Glass Act came in after the fall of the banks, or the failure of the banks in '29. And we then adopted this, which worked for quite a while until they started to relax it. And now we have practically no controls over the banks, and that's one of the reasons that we're in the trouble that we're in. So it's calling to reestablish some of the controls that we had on the banks.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member White. Senior Senate Member Schwartz.
To follow up on Ms. White's comments, this proposal which was submitted to us was to try to reinstate a legislative program like the Glass-Steagall Act, which barred banks from crossing the line into investment banking and other types of investments and handling with the public, and only to stay with banking. It also discussed the fact that over the last 30 years, there's been a gradual weakening of the controls over the banks, which ended with the repeal of Glass-Steagall in 1999. The author of the proposal wishes to have legislated a bill comparable to Glass-Steagall to reinstate those controls which were abrogated over the past 40 years. And that's what Ms. White was talking about and what I'm agreeing with. Thank you.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Schwartz. Further debate or discussion? Seeing none, I'll take the roll again. Those who wish to vote no on Senate Federal Proposal 6, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those who wish to abstain on Senate Federal Proposal 6, please raise your hand. Seeing a majority of the proposal passes. Senate Federal Proposal 1 by Senior Senator Winslow regarding gender discrimination.
Yes.
Senior Assembly Member Fingold.
No, I'm speaking.
Thank you. This is the one that was approved.
Oh, excuse me, Senior Member Fingold. I seem to have a
yes. I've been
controversy
asked. I've been asked by the author to be the floor jockey today for this proposal.
Okay.
It seems that she was asked to be. Were you asked to present that federal proposal 1?
I was the one that presented it here, isn't it? The Assembly Federal Proposal 1?
No, this is Senate Federal Proposal 1.
Pardon me.
That's all right. Thank you. Senior Assembly Member Gould.
Yes. I'm Marcia Gould, Senior Assembly Member from PSA 25. I'm presenting on behalf of Senior Senator Winslow. We are on page 269, and this is Senate Federal Proposal 1. In 1979, the United Nations General Assembly met at a convention on the elimination of all discrimination against women. In 1981, 20 nations passed this, and it became an international treaty. Then President Carter presented it to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and 30 years later, it has not been passed by the United States of America. We are the only industrial country in the world that has not passed gender discrimination against women. If you'll look on lines 48 through 96, you will find all of the various items that this proposal entails. Slavery, prostitution, job discrimination, wages. 185 countries have passed this, and we are still waiting to pass it. If you vote for this, and I hope you will, and I hope you'll make it one of the top 4 federal proposals, we can finally get around to asking the President and Congress to pass this non-discrimination bill against women. Thank you very much.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, Senior Assembly Member Gould. Further debate or discussion? Seeing none, those who wish to vote no on Senate Federal Proposal 1, again, vote no on Senate Federal Proposal 1. Please raise your hand. Those who wish to vote abstain from voting on Senate Federal Proposal 1, please raise your hand. These are abstain votes on Senate Federal Proposal 1. Therefore, the ayes have it. The proposal passes. The following Senate proposals are on today's consent file. We've removed Senate Federal Proposal 8 due to the concern of Senior Assembly Member Block and her saying that she did not have the edited copy. Have you been able to find the edited copy of Senate Federal Proposal 8? Oh. Looks like we have copies now. Please be patient.
you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Reed.
No, it was changed.
Speakers instructed that we'll take a few minutes to be able to, so that the members will be able to review the material being passed out on the amended copy of Senate Federal Proposal 8, which is on today's consent file with a number of other proposals that are on consent. Take a few minutes to please review the materials, and we'll resume in a few minutes. Thank you.
They said it was on consent.
Mr. Chair,
Senior Assembly Member Gottiger.
yes, I was to do a presentation of one of the Senate due pass.
Would you please use your microphone? Thank you so much.
I was supposed to do a presentation on one of the Senate due pass bills. Have we completed that group? So I should sit down and be patient, right?
Which proposal? I believe that we went through the due pass bill.
SFP3.
Okay, please be seated and we'll look at it for you. Thank you.
Well, he on second had reviewed all of them, but I didn't see it. Right. And Larry was. Are you on the consent?
Senior Assembly Member Gottiger, we found the Senate Federal Proposal 3 misfiled in the wrong packet, and after we've had time to review the materials that were just sent out, we'll resume with your bill to present. Thank you. And then we'll move to the consent file. Thank you.
Dorothy Sorensen, PSA 8. You also didn't ask for SP 16.
SP
That is on the due pass.
16?
Yes.
Thank you.
Here. Here it is. Steve, here it is. So now we're moving to the consent.
Senior Assembly Member Sorensen, we will do SP 16 after SFP 3. Thank you.
council yet?
Kind of up. Roseville, Rockland, Auburn, in that area. Auburn.
Is it cold up there?
I'm in the foothills. I'm still 17 miles up from Auburn. Pretty cold.
You know Mary Tucker? Mary Tucker? Mary Tucker.
I don't know.
Really active in everything. Especially with seizures.
In Auburn?
All over.
Marion Hospital. He's the one that did that last bill. Vice chair, as he includes. Where are you from? Oh, absolutely. And I don't know.
Make a motion to proceed with the bills.
Thank you, everyone. Just to recap on Assemblymember Lucero's comment regarding AP 19, we passed on the information, and Sherry Jenkins has spoken with Assemblymember Lucero, and I just wanted to let everyone know that. We're going to...
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to move to the two due pass items that were brought to our attention that were misfiled in the consent file. The first one that we will take up is Senate Federal Proposal 3 by Senior Senator Pankhurst relating to increased Medicaid funding eligibility. Senior Assembly Member Gottiger.
In the committee meeting yesterday, I was asked to serve as a jockey for this proposal. I'm Jane Gottiger from PSA 20 in San Bernardino. It's on page 221. This proposal is simply revises the federal Medicaid program to permit states to increase eligibility and provide additional services to seniors and other low-income individuals who are without private health care coverage and do not otherwise meet the qualifications for the current Medicaid program and other publicly funded programs. I've read through it several times, and there isn't much more than that I can say about it, but it's permissive, which is good, which means it would be up to the states to be able to do this, and I guess that would mean the federal government would still be required to make their contributions. Thank you. Please, I encourage you to vote for this.
Thank you, Senior Senate Member Gottiger. Senior Senate Member Gould.
Yes, point of information. I am interested to know if this covers citizens and non-citizens. Thank you.
In reading it, I see no reference to citizens or non-citizens, so I would expect the same rules apply as those that currently apply to eligibility for the Medicaid program.
Senior Assemblymember Rolfe.
I believe that states are already able to add services and pay for share of cost. That's why we had in this state at one time vision, dental, podiatry. Those were the services that were most recently cut. So I think if a state adds these services into their state plan, they can do that.
Senior Assemblymember Purcell.
I tried to get a bill recently passed, but the part that they took out of my bill was also on eligibility increase. And the one that took it out said that I had to have know what the matching fund was. So California is a 50-50 state. I think it's Mississippi is a 20 matching state. But unless I got proof of it, I couldn't put it in. But it sounds like she was able to pass whatever test the person that the legislative aid had for her, she was able to pass it. It sounds good. It'll be a good attempt. I'm for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senior Assemblymember Gottiger, would you close?
Yes, in regards to the comment about the inclusion of services, again, this speaks to the eligibility, not to the provision of services, although one goes with the other as a manner of speaking. But so again, I would just urge you to your vote in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll do as we've done before. We'll take a roll based on a no vote for Senate Federal Proposal 3. All those who wish to vote no on Senate Federal Proposal 3, please raise your hand. All those who wish to abstain from voting on Senate Federal Proposal 3, please raise your hand. The ayes have it. Senate Federal Proposal 3 passes. Senate Proposal 16 by Senior Senator Faustman, related to universal health care.
Dorothy Sorensen, PSA 8. I've been asked by the health chair to present this. This is about universal health care. Existing law does not provide a system of universal health care coverage for California residents. Existing law provides for various programs to provide health care services to persons who have limited income and meet various eligibility requirements. These programs include the Healthy Family Program and Medi-Cal. The measure would memorialize the legislature and the governor to enact legislation requiring the state to study health care systems in other countries, and they specify France, and to develop a universal health care in California as specified. California has millions of residents without health care, including children, whereas the United States needs an example of excellent health care system that has succeeded in one state now. This would be open to everyone in the state, and the freedom of choice of doctors and hospitals does not limit based on pre-existing conditions that does not cause patients to be sent home before their wounds and conditions are sufficiently treated. California studied the healthcare systems in other countries, such as France, to have a better healthcare system in the world. And that's it. Thank you.
If I may ask Assemblymember Quincy Campbell to please approach the desk. Senior Assembly Member Sorensen, it looks like there may be a discrepancy in whether or not this, or a controversy as to whether or not this proposal actually passed out of the Senate floor and should have gone to Assembly Health Committee, because it looks like it may have failed in the Senate floor and should not have gone to committee in the Assembly. And so we're calling to Sherry to find out, if we need to act on this, because we may not need to act on this item if it failed on the Senate floor.
Well, I'm sorry I bothered you guys. I wouldn't have even gotten up if I knew that. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just be patient with us, thank you.
get bored if I fall asleep. That's hard for me to do. I mean, I could fall asleep just talking about something.
Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, can we table this and go on? Mr. Speaker?
It's being discussed, and we'll be done in just a second.
All right, thank you, everyone. If you would please return to your seats, we'll get started as soon as everyone is seated. Thank you. We'll proceed. If I would just explain what happened with the proposal that Senior Senate Member Sorensen presented, it unfortunately had actually failed on the Senate floor and has been removed from the Assembly's file. The next thing that we're going to do is go through the consent file. I'm going to read each proposal that's Senior Senate Member Molnar, why do you raise your envelope? Microphone.
Thank you. Could you tell us the number of the one that failed?
So which one failed?
It was Senior Senate Member Sorensen. Do you remember the Senate proposal that you?
16.
It was 16, SB 16.
SP 16. SP 16 is the proposal that failed in the Senate floor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Page 217.
Thank you. We're going to move to the consent file now, and I'll read the numbers of the proposals that are all in the consent file. If anyone wishes to remove an item from the consent file, please raise your microphone, and otherwise we'll vote on these at the end as a group. Senate Proposal 1, Senate Proposal 9, Senate Proposal 10, Senate Proposal 14, Senate Proposal 19, Senate Proposal 21, Senate Federal Proposal 4, Senate Federal Proposal 5, Senate Federal Proposal 7, and Senate Federal Proposal 8. Does anyone wish to remove any of these items from the calendar? Please raise your microphone. First person recognized is Senior Senate Member Weiss Gerber.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think you skipped 13. Senate Proposal 13. Is that
Senate Proposal 13? Hold a moment. That is in the file. If I did not read it off, I apologize. Senate Proposal 13 is also in the consent file.
Thank you, sir.
He added 8. He did have 8.
I'll read through the list again. Senate Proposal 1. Senate Proposal 9.
Well, he's doing that at the
8 failed. That was...
No. I object.
It failed in the floor session. It ended up going to Senate, and it shouldn't have.
Assembly, and it shouldn't have.
They just handed it to me on the way out.
This is the one on tire identification? No.
Oh, that's...
It was on your list when you read it out.
That's Federal Proposal 8.
It's not SFP.
But it doesn't look like it was voted. There's no vote.
Is that the one?
It should be SFP 8.
Yeah.
It's Federal Proposal. Is on page 225.
That's SE. That's not SFP. It's an SP 8.
Someone else was saying SP.
Would you please look again at your SP 8?
It's a tire safety.
Right.
Well, the tire safety
That's on
was
the consent file as well. Okay. So. Thank you. If everyone would please be seated. I'm going to read through the consent file one more time. See if we can get it right. SP1, SP8.
Yeah. You did it.
Yes, did. Yes, did.
What's going on? SP9, SP10, SP13, SP14, SP9, excuse me,
19.
SP19, SP21, SFP4, SFP5, SFP7, SFP8. Senior Assembly Member Greenwood.
Did SP8 fail or no? No.
No.
Okay, it did not. Thank you.
We'll do a roll call now. Since these are on the consent file, we'll go ahead and anyone who wants to raise their hand to vote no on the consent file, please raise your hand. Anyone who wishes to abstain on the consent file, please raise your hand. Seeing unanimous vote, the consent file is therefore passed. The last, I believe this is the last measure we'll do, is to go through the Assembly proposals that were amended in the Senate and have returned to the Assembly floor for concurrence. I'll read through the Assembly proposal numbers individually. If any authors wish to discuss or explain the amendments to the entire body of members here, when I'm finished reading the numbers, if you would raise your microphone and I will call on you and you can explain your amendments. Assembly Proposal 7, Assembly Proposal 10, Assembly Proposal 21, Assembly Proposal 29, Assembly Federal Proposal 1, and Assembly Federal Proposal 6. Senior Assembly Member Lucero, and then Senior Assembly Member...
Senior Assembly Member Lucero.
After Lucero.
PSA 10. Yesterday we passed there are two. There's a state proposal and a federal proposal that are on food and dating, and it passed on consent in the Assembly. But when I presented to the Senate committee, my shock statement in there where it had to do with the abortion pill. What I did in the bill itself, the proposal, I put a statement in saying if the federal government, the state government can pass a bill that says that kids can take a morning after pill, without parent permission, then why can't we put a date on a food package so that adults can make up their own minds whether or not the food is good, and also so that the food in itself is going to be safe up until a certain date, best before. So both of those that are on there that have my name on it, the federal one and the state one statement was left that was eliminated, and that's the one that had to do with the morning after pill, the abortion pill, because I put it in there basically as a shock factor and I must have shocked the Senate. Thank you. It was on consent here.
If I could just make a correction to the file here, they all came out. They all came over in one pile, but unfortunately, it looks like Assemblymember Lucero's proposal AP21 and his federal proposal AFP6 failed on the Senate floor and should not have been in the same pile as the ones that came over as amended as past proposals. So those have failed, and they will not be voted on in concurrence today. Yeah, I'll repeat what I said. These bills came over. These are assembly proposals that came over from the Senate and were amended in the Senate and then voted on the Senate floor. Unfortunately, when they came over to the Assembly, they came over in one packet as if they were at all passed, and we were going to vote to concur with the Senate's amendments. Assemblymember Lucero's two proposals that he just spoke on, AP21 and AFP6, those were amended in the Senate, but they failed on the Senate floor. Therefore, we will not be voting to concur with the Senate amendments because the measures failed. That's AP21 failed, AFP6 failed. I'll go ahead and read off the ones that passed the Senate floor and were amended in the Senate. Once again, just so you have a clear list. AP7 by Weintraub. AP10 by Sorensen. AP29 by Payne. And AFP1 by Fingold. If any of the authors wish to explain the amendments that were taken in the Senate, they can raise their microphone. If not, we will vote on these in concurrence as a group. There will be no debate. Senior Assemblymember Lowe. Did you...
Question.
Question.
It said the following proposals were amended in committee. That means amended in Senate floor. And please remove the old version from your binder and insert the amended proposals. That, to me, I thought they were all passed, including the AFP6 and AP21. The first line.
Thank you.
That's what it says here. You're right.
Thank you, Senior Assemblymember Lowe. It looks like there is probably an error on your chart because on the actual vote tally, it's checked off as failed. So the form that you're looking at that says to update your amended and it came out of the Senate is probably incorrect because I have the master sheet that says that those two proposals failed.
Okay, of course we go with your master sheet.
Thank you. I believe there was another microphone raised before you stood. Senior Member Weintraub, did you have your microphone raised after Senate Member Lowe?
Yes, I did. I just wanted to explain that AP 7, the amendment added the Central California district to this proposal. The original proposal had Northern California and Southern California for schools of nursing, and one of the senators wished to add Central California, and that was the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you for explaining your amendment, Senior Senate Member Weintraub. Senior Senate Member McAllister.
Thank you. Don McAllister, PSA 22. Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman here, or Speaker. Since some of us may not want to vote yes on, and you're going to do it all in a block, then that would mean that we would vote no on the block then if we wanted to vote against some of them, since you wanted to do them all in a block, right?
No.
I don't know if I explained this, but any member can remove a proposal from the consent file, and we can discuss that proposal. So if any member wishes to remove one of these proposals from the consent file and not vote on them altogether, then that can be done.
Mr. Speaker, I'd move then that you remove AP 7, AP 10, and AFP 1 from the consent calendar and move the rest.
No.
Mr. Speaker.
I believe
Mr. Speaker.
I believe that the next person that had a microphone raised was Senior Senate Member. Could you raise your Campbell, and then Lucero, and then
Hutcherson,
and then Hutcherson, and then Shantz. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people that want to speak right now. So
I would like to know what.
Stout after that.
Is there some way that we can disagree with a block voting on this? I would like to see. I believe Mr. McAllister also did not want to block vote on these. Is there some mechanism by which we may vote or not? I'd like to see them individually.
Thank you. It sounds like from Senior Senate Member McAllister's request to remove all but AP 29 from the consent file. Now they will all be taken up individually, and they will not be now voted in a block.
Thank you.
Point of information. Point of information.
Actually, if I could just ask you to please hold your comment. If everyone will reserve their comments, I have to make a statement. It appears that the rule is to remove from the consent file, we need 5 votes.
Thank you. That
to
is
remove
correct.
an item, a proposal from the consent file. I will go through each one of these, and I will ask for people to raise their hand if they wish to remove the proposal from the consent file. AP 7, those who wish to remove this proposal from the consent file, please raise your hand. Thank you. That's 5. That one is removed from the consent file. AP 7 removed from the consent file. AP 10, those who wish to remove AP 10 from the consent file, please raise your hand. So removed. AP 10 removed from the consent file. AP 29, those who wish to remove it from the consent file, please raise your hand. So removed AP 29 has been removed from the consent file. AFP1, those who wish to remove AFP1 from the consent file, please raise your hand. 5 votes, 6 votes. AFP1 has been removed from the consent file.
Point of order. According to our legislative rules, 5 members of the Assembly must sign a request to remove the proposal from the consent calendar.
Thank you. Senior Assemblymember Petty, do you have something to add to this?
I need something added to my head. We're talking about removing items from the consent file?
Correct.
But these items aren't on my consent file list. They're on the front page, not on the Assembly consent list. So that's where I'm confused. The consent file has, about 15 or 20 of them. And the ones we're discussing are simply on page 1 because they were amended. And so that's why I need some clarification in my head. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, point of information.
My understanding is that the items that are on the consent file in my hand here were just voted on the Senate floor, so they could not have made it to any list that you have in front of you.
That's incorrect. We have a list.
And we voted on it.
And on that list, we have each of those items you discussed. And they're on the page 1 of the pages that we received. That these were amended, and they were amended in the Senate and then passed to us so that we can then reconcile these items. In order to reconcile these items, we don't need to do it in block. We can do them singularly.
Really, let's do this. I would.
The rule is that it can be done verbally on the floor, 5 votes verbally on the floor. So we'll go ahead and take them up individually.
Mr. Chair, point of information.
Assemblymember Lucero.
I don't want to make everybody else as confused as I am, but I do need to have some clarification. And this is not sour grapes. I understand the process of voting down proposals, but I'm not exactly sure how the Senate could have already voted down on this. Yesterday at the Senate committee, when both these 21 and AFP 6 were taken in, the amendment was made right there in the committee with my approval, and then it was voted upon and it was passed 100%. But because it was amended, I guess it could not be called a consent. And that means then it would have had to come back here for us to scrutinize to see whether or not the part that had been deleted was correct. We've done that. I explained to you that the abortion pill was part of this as a shock factor. So I'm not sure how the Senate could have already passed on something that we're supposed to be looking now and pass on it ourselves after they amended it and approved it in the Senate itself. This really would not have gone to the floor. It comes back over to us before it goes back for consideration.